Redwood News at 5 starts right now.
The spirit of the North Coast. This is Redwood News at 5.
Good evening and thank you for choosing Redwood News. I'm John Kennedy O'Connor. A judge this afternoon cleared the way for a Hooper man to stand trial in what is Humboldt County's first manslaughter prosecution involving a drug dealer. 30-year-old James Williamson II is charged in the death of a woman to whom he allegedly sold a deadly dose of fentanyl. The judge's ruling that Williamson can be tried for involuntary manslaughter came after prosecutors played a recording of a police interview with Williamson. In it, he admits selling the drugs to the woman and says he, quote, did not mean to kill her. The governor is reversing the California Parole Board's recommendation to release a 72-year-old Charles Manson follower from prison. Leslie Van Houten was 19 years old when she joined the murderous Charles Manson family. She was convicted for her role in the stabbing murders of a supermarket executive and his wife at their Los Angeles home in 1969. Van Houten has spent 52 years in prison, and Van Houten's parole recommendation have been reversed 5 times, twice by former Governor Jerry Brown and 3 times by current Governor Gavin Newsom. Governor Newsom says Van Houten continues to pose a threat to public safety. In a statement, Van Houten says she's disappointed and her attorney plans to appeal. President Biden is ordering the largest release of US oil reserves in history in an effort to drive down record-high gas prices. The president announcing today that he will release roughly 1 million barrels of oil a day from the strategic reserve for the next 6 months. Reporter Alice Barr examines this latest effort to ease the burden on motorists.
With the war in Ukraine and strict sanctions on Russia disrupting the global fuel supply, President Biden today announcing new steps to reduce soaring gas prices here at home, while pinning the blame squarely on Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Putin's war is imposing a cost on America and our allies.
The president planning to release a record 1 million barrels of oil a day from U.S. strategic reserves over the next 6 months.
This is a wartime bridge.
Republican leaders saying the president needs to focus on making it easier to produce energy in America.
We have the ability to not only meet our own energy needs, but to help the Europeans meet theirs.
President Biden is urging U.S. oil companies to increase production, today calling on Congress to make oil producers pay fees on wells from federal land leases they aren't using.
Start producing or pay the price for their inaction.
The Biden White House also invoking the Defense Production Act to support processing materials for the batteries in electric cars.
To speed the transition to a clean energy future.
The announcements coming as a new NBC News poll shows far more Americans blame President Biden than the Russian invasion for rising costs. That as Russian forces are feeling the cost of underestimating Ukrainian opposition. U.S. defense officials say that after taking heavy losses, some Russian troops are heading away from the capital.
Thus far, there is no clear evidence that he's pulling all of his forces out of Kyiv.
That as the attacks continue around Kyiv, despite Russian promises to ease up. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
With President Biden's announcement to make a historic release from the strategic oil reserves and his urging of U.S. oil companies to increase production or face potential tax penalties, we wanted to know how drivers here in Humboldt County felt about what Biden had to say. One motorist we caught up with at the gas pumps here in Eureka summed up the feelings of many.
I don't think it's going to have much impact. It's a little, he needs to just let him go back to getting oil and gas out of our country and put us back energy free. And our prices will go down.
And President Biden admits he doesn't know how much gas prices will decline as a result of his action, but he suggests it may be anywhere from 10 cents to 35 cents a gallon. Humboldt County leaders are blaming supply chain issues for a significant delay in the delivery of a new fuel tank to the Murrayfield Airport in Eureka. Officials say they anticipate it will be about 6 to 8 months before the new fuel tank arrives for the general aviation field. County supervisors recently approved replacing the existing fuel tank, which became corroded with the decades of use and lack of maintenance. Pilots are concerned about having to wait months, so the county says it's exploring options to provide a temporary plain fuel supply until the new tank arrives. The city of Arcata is receiving an $18 million grant from the state of California to transform a hotel into housing for the homeless. The Red Roof Inn on Valley West Boulevard in Arcata will undergo the conversion. The project is one of 10 across the state, receiving a total of $136 million in Project Home Key funding this week. Those projects are aimed at providing nearly 500 housing units. The 79-unit hotel in Arcata will be purchased by Danco Communities. The developer will then work with the Redwood Community Action Agency to provide support services along with the housing.
A really cool program because it doesn't just provide housing. It actually has a lot of wraparound services as well. So they provide, everything from mental health services to social services, job counseling. They support people to get, other services from other government entities if they're available.
Meanwhile, the city of Eureka is getting a separate $1 million federal grant to fund housing and emergency shelters for the homeless. Those funds will also be used to expand outreach and health services through the community, through the Community Access Project. Thousands of renters are relieved this evening that California's pandemic eviction ban will be extended. The California legislature earlier today voted to extend the moratorium, which was due to expire tomorrow. That extension is now headed for the governor's desk and his signature. The new deadline for tenants to become current on their rent will be July 1st, assuming they've applied for rental assistance with the state. California Governor Gavin Newsom has a new plan to fight fire with fire. The governor has unveiled a $1.2 billion proposal intended to prevent major wildfires. The plan calls for doing targeted, controlled burns in more than 400,000 acres by 2025 to lessen the overall risk. California will work with federal land, tribal and authorities on the plan to better protect communities and the state's natural resources as well. The proposal includes funds for a training center to instruct firefighters statewide on how to use controlled or prescribed fires effectively. Meantime, the governor is also taking action to name the former Yurok tribal chair to an open seat on the Del Norte County Board of Supervisors. 70-year-old Susan Maston will fill the vacancy for the 5th District Supervisor seat that was recently created with the cancer death of Bob Berkowitz. Maston's appointment doesn't require state Senate confirmation. It only lasts through the upcoming election, where Maston is also a candidate on the ballot for the position. Some Eureka City school students are teaming up with the City of Eureka for a major art project. 21 students from Zane Middle School are in the process of painting a mural adjacent to the crosswalk on S Street, just outside the school gates. The art class students are working with local muralist Mia DeSila on the design that will fill 1,000 square feet of space. The class project is an effort to allow students to see their artwork come to life in a big way. And coming up after this short break, we'll have the latest local COVID-19 updates as travel restrictions are finally lifting. We'll be right back. Now here's the latest this evening on COVID-19 locally. Del Norte County is reporting virus data twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So here's a look at today's newly released numbers. The number of active cases as of today is at 25, with 9 new cases tallied since Tuesday. The cumulative case count is now at 6,214. There is 1 COVID hospitalisation, while the death count remains at 48. As for Humboldt County, a reminder that the Health Department is now only reporting data once a week, and that occurs on Wednesdays, so there are no new numbers to share today. In yesterday's report, the county recorded its 143rd COVID-19 death of the pandemic and its 21st death so far this year. The latest victim was a resident over the age of 80. On the national front this evening, there's word that more COVID travel restrictions are easing as we approach vacation season. Our Amy Kiley has some updates to help you plan your next trip.
COVID-19 no longer controls our lives.
That means the relaxation of more restrictions and guidance, including some related to travel. The CDC now says cruises don't pose an increased travel risk, but it suggests checking out individual ship health guidelines and getting fully vaccinated against COVID-19 first. The FDA just expanded the emergency use authorization for a second round of Pfizer and Moderna boosters for people 50 and older. The president now has his, but the CDC clarifies people don't need that extra shot to be considered up to date on their COVID-19 vaccinations.
If you're over the age of 50 or you're younger than that and have important comorbid conditions, you should get boosted.
In other travel news, 21 states are suing the Biden administration to end the transportation mask mandate before it expires April 18th. That's in addition to other lawsuits from groups of pilots and flight attendants. And travelers now can get pandemic information about the places they plan to visit in the U.S. or where they live on covid.gov. Amid these changes, experts say to be ready for the Omicron subvariant to increase cases.
In the last week, case rates in the United States have become flat. And if you and I speak next week at this time, we'll be talking about how they're now starting to rise.
Congress has to provide the funding America needs to continue to fight COVID-19. And if we fail to invest, we leave ourselves vulnerable if another wave of the virus hits.
Amy Kiley, Redwood News. Amy Kiley, 25 News.
There's a recall alert to tell you about this evening. It involves Skippy peanut butter due to possible metal shavings in the jar. Over 9,000 cases of Skippy peanut butter sold in several states, including California, were recalled today. That's because some jars may contain a small fragment of stainless steel from a piece of manufacturing equipment. The recall involves certain sizes of Skippy reduced fat creamy peanut butter spread, Skippy reduced fat chunky peanut butter spread, and Skippy creamy peanut butter blended with plant protein. They all carry best if used by dates between May 4 and May 10 of 2023. Consumers can return the jars to their store for an exchange. Weather's next. We'll be right back. And welcome to sports. The United States men's soccer team is returning to the World Cup. That return comes despite a 2-0 loss to Costa Rica last night. It was the final night of qualifying, and despite the loss, the US secured a berth for the finals in Qatar. That's because they finished among the top 3 nations in North and Central America and the Caribbean. The slump continues for the Golden State Warriors as some fans wonder whether it's time to panic. Despite Jordan Poole scoring 38 points at home, the Warriors lost to the Phoenix Suns last night. The Warriors fell to the Suns in a nail-biter, 107-103, extending their losing streak to 4 games in a row. In addition, the Warriors have now lost 7 of their last 8 games. The San Jose Sharks also faced a team from Phoenix last night, and the Sharks couldn't find any better luck either. The Sharks lost to the Arizona Coyotes 5-2. The Sharks hit the post 3 times while trying to score last night, and there was also a spectacular goalie save from the Coyotes to deny San Jose another scoring opportunity. And that's your sports. We'll be back with more weather and news after the break.
From the coast tonight, John Kennedy, over to you.
Thanks so much, Dan. Now, before we go this evening, beware the mailbox that dares anger a bull on the loose. Or, as the saying goes, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. Body camera video from a police officer shows the moment a bull on the loose laid waste to such a mailbox in New Jersey after escaping from a local farm. The bull hooking the mailbox from underneath with its horn and yanking the whole thing out of the ground. The officer can be heard chuckling as he calls out on the radio, he's busy assaulting a mailbox right now. That officer called it a great escape.
Huh.
I'd have called it something else, but it's tea time. It's too early for that.
I think that mailbox was filled with Buffalo Bills.
Oh, very, very good. Or maybe maybe he was looking for a cow pie. I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us for Redwood News at 5. We'll be back at 6. We look forward to seeing you then.
Take it easy, everybody.